Today we'll start with internal storage. Yesterday we have seen what do we mean by shared preferences. Today we'll see what do we mean by internal storage, how it works. Okay, so what is internal storage? Store private data on device memory. What it is going to store? It is going to store private data on the device memory, right? Next we'll see external storage. Store public data on the shared external storage. Then today we'll see, or we'll start SQLite database, how it works. Okay, so here is the module that I have created for the internal storage. This for the internal storage. Okay, now let me enable the Java 8 very first. See, jack options. Sorry, in default config closure, we need to have jack options enabled true. Compile options, source compatibility 1.8 and target compatibility 1.8. Let me sync the project because I have changed the Gradle. Okay, now let's have some UI for reading and writing to the file. Let me have some UI here. Let me have linear layout like this. Linear layout, orientation would be horizontal, sorry, vertical, not horizontal. And here we have some button id at plus id btn save, and here I can have at string btn save this thing. Now you can say save here. Say value would be the save, and I'll make it match parent. Here I will have one more button. Let me copy this btn display, and here we will have something display, kind of display. Fine, I have two buttons, display and this. So in the internal storage, let me get that buttons. Find view by id r.id.btn save dot set on click listener, and you can say this colon colon click. Okay, what happened to the Java 8 source compatibility 1.8? Jack options enable true. Fine, then create the method click. Another, find view by id r.id.btn display dot set on click listener, this colon colon again click this. Fine, if view dot get id is exactly equals to r.id.btn, here you can say if it is btn save, then do this, else do this, right? Btn save, then do this, otherwise do this. Okay, now internal storage, what they are saying about internal storage, let's see. Using the internal storage, can you see, you can get directly access to the that directory which is a private to your app using openFileOutput and openFileInput. Remember that openFileOutput is going to return you what you can say output stream if you want to save it, right? If you want to save it, you are going to use that. Now see, I will write one method private void save data. This I'm going to use one method which is nothing but what? Save data. File output stream FOS is equals to open file output. It is going to take you to that path which is internal storage or private to the data. This open file output. Here you can provide my.txt, and after that you can give the mode underscore append, I can say, right? Mode underscore append to the file. Now say try catch. I can have the generic exception block e, and let me write this e dot print stack trace, this thing. Let me write this into the try catch block. Let me handle it this exception over here itself. Now I want to write something to the private storage of the app. Can you see write FOS dot write? I can write hello to Codekul, right? It is a string and it is expecting bytes over here. Dot get bytes. String is having one method which is nothing but what? Get bytes. So I'm calling get bytes method on the string, and you can say FOS dot close. I can say FOS dot what? Close. So I have created file output stream. Open that output stream my.txt, FOS dot write this, and FOS dot close. I have closed this thing over here, right? So on the save button click, I want to write one method. See, save data, right? I want to write one method which is nothing but what? Save data. Let me run the code and see what happens. Internal storage, where is that internal storage? Yes, internal storage. Let me run the code and see what happens. On the save, do we get any exception or not? Right? Now, meanwhile it is running, let's write the data for reading void display and this. Let's have the try catch block. Try catch exception e, and here you can say e dot print stack trace, right? Now here file input stream is for reading. Java told us input stream is for what? Reading. FIS is equals to open file input. Now you would be getting fascinated from which path. That path is going to be decided by this method. It is a private path of your app, right? Private path of your app. Now txt, my.txt, from the same file I want to read, right? I want to read from what? Same file. Now how you would be reading? While true, while true, int ch is equals to fis dot read. Int ch is equals to what? Fis dot read. If ch is exactly equals to -1 means what? End of the line. Then break the loop, else append it to the string buffer. Else what? Append to string buffer. Let me have, it's not string buffer, builder. You can use string buffer as well if you are needing thread safe method, right? Then say builder dot append. You can convert this ch to char because it is in the int, and I want to convert this int to character ch like this. So your builder would be having what? Stream or the sequence of the characters, and here either you can have one text view or you can log the data. So what I'll do is that over here let's have some text view, match parent, wrap content id, say at plus id, text data, right? Text data. Here we would be having text data. Now after this while loop, what I'm going to do is that find view by id, r dot id dot, not btn, text data. Let me convert it to what? Text view, and dot set text, you can say builder dot toString. Are you getting that? Builder dot toString. So I have written some data, hello code cool, to the internal storage, which is a private to the app, and I'm trying to read data from the internal storage over here, which is a private to the app. No two apps can share these files until and unless you are not going to use the file provider. So content provider is going to allow you to share the database, as well as content provider is going to allow you to share what? Files, private files. Okay, now here you can say display. I would be calling one method which is nothing but what? Display, right? Which is nothing but what? Display. So I have written two methods, one for saving, this for reading. Now if you are a Java developer, this thing is only new for you, this open file input and open file output. Else everything, this file output stream and file input stream, you are much familiar with that. String builder, you are familiar with that. How to read from the stream, you know that, right? So these two things need to be taken care if you are going to work with the Android style. Remember that you can do same code in the Java style as well, right? You can do same code in the Java style as well. We'll see next how to do that thing. Okay, let me run this much of the code and then see what happens. So we have two buttons and just we have added one text box. See this, we just did this thing, open file output, open file input. Read, to read file from the internal storage, call open file input and pass the name of the file that you want to read. Caching the files, you can use this thing. See, let me show you the output. Save, right, and say display. Can you see? Hello code cool. This data is coming from, this data is coming from this method display. On the tap of display, you are calling display function. Read, yes, you can read it. Yes, internal storage, yes, you can do that. You can do that. So any file you can read and any file you can write. So we are looking, or we are learning internal storage, right? See, once again, you can save the files directly on the internal storage. By default, files saved to the internal storage are private to your applications, and other application cannot access them, nor the, can the user. When user uninstalls your app, these files are getting removed. These files are getting removed. And that's why when you uninstall the WhatsApp, data of WhatsApp gets deleted, because that is nothing but inside the internal storage. Some of the data WhatsApp stores on the external storage as well, but maximum chats and other things, some their encrypted files are there that are present on the internal storage, right? Okay, now most important thing we have learned in the Java, that closing is very important. Your streams need to be closed time to time. Have we closed that? See, no, this is open and this is closed, right? So go here and write fis dot close. We are closing the stream, fis dot close. Make sure that closing is important. Okay, now what are going to do is that at what location it is exactly storing, what location it is exactly storing. Now here is the note, right? Here is the note, some note is there. See, if your app need to share the private files with the other app, it may use the file provider with flag grant read URI permission, right? This thing. So yesterday I have added one code for opening the PDF. In that PDF I have implemented this file provider. See what they are saying. If your app wants to share the private files with other app, it may use file provider, right? And on the nugget, after the nugget 7.0 API level 24, that will result in the security exception. If you want to open the PDF, you are going to send your PDF to the respective app, right? You are going to fire one intent. From your app you are going to send your private PDF, which can be stored either in asset or in the raw resource, and that PDF can be shared to another apps using intent. If you don't know what are the intents, please see earlier video. You would be getting to know what do you mean by intents and intent filters. Okay, fine. Now caching the files. Caching the files. See, this method is new for you. Get cache dir. Okay, and these are few methods: get files dir, get dir, delete file, and the file list. Okay, first we'll see what is a cache dir. Now I would be having, to this text view I'm going to assign few data important functions. So here I will write private void few important methods that you may need to use in the future. Few important methods, right? Now what I will do is that let me have one string builder object. Builder is equals to string buffer, because I'm not needing any thread safeness presently. String builder, see here, the methods are not thread safe, right? You cannot find synchronized keyword over here. But if you go to the string buffer, every method is synchronized, and presently I am neglecting the synchronization. I am not looking for inter-thread communication presently. That's why I'm using the string builder and not buffer, right? You can use it if this method is going to be called by the multiple threads at a time. If this few important methods would be getting called by the multiple async tasks or multiple threads at a time, you can use it as a string builder. Fine. Builder dot append, right? Here what I'll do is that cache dir dot append, right? Get cache dir. Can you see what it is going to return? Get cache dir is going to return object of what? File. I can print the absolute path then. Get cache dir dot get absolute path. I can print the absolute path. Similarly, I can have dot append files dir. You'll come to know what that means. Files dir, here dot append, what you can say, get files dir. Can you see get files dir, again returning object of file. You can have say get absolute path, this thing, right? It is going to return me the absolute path. Okay, so here what I will add is that dot append, I'll add slash n, new line character, right? I'll add slash n over here. Now if you can check it, get files dir, get dir creates the directory within your internal storage space. Delete files, delete file saved on internal storage. Then file list returns an array of the files currently saved by your application. We'll see this thing. First let me show you the output. what do you mean by internal storage? What is exactly path of the internal storage? This path. Okay. So here what I will do is that, see, find view by id, r dot id dot text data. You can typecast it to the text view, right? You can typecast to the text view dot set text, and you can say builder dot toString. That's it. Pass it. So if you don't want to do this thing, text view gives you one method called as append. Instead of text view dot set text, you can do text view dot append and go on appending, right? But I think this would be the more beneficial than calling the text view again and again. Fine. Now here only I'll call that method few important methods. So this method is going to get invoked and it is going to assign some data to that text view. Let's run the code and see what happens. Now you will see something over here, some methods over here, right? Instead of that hello code cool, you will find some methods. Can you see cache dir path is this and get files dir path is this. So instead of this I can log it as well. We can log it log.I at codecool, and here plus you can say builder dot toString, builder dot toString. Let me restart the application, which will give the output in this manner. See, slash data slash user 0 your package name forward slash files. See this at codecool. Can you see this thing? For the cache dir, these two things are there. I'll get that thing and paste somewhere here. This slash data slash user 0 your package name cache slash data user 0 your package name and files. Yesterday shared preferences were stored at slash data slash user 0 your package name shared underscore preps, shared underscore preps, right? This thing, are you getting that? Slash data user 0 package name cache slash data user 0 package name files. This is your internal storage, and this is, if you think, what you can say, empirically, here you will come to know that this package is going to change per project, right? Means every project is having separate internal storage from this package. You can check, make sure that before the ice cream sandwich this path might be different. Before the ice cream sandwich this path might be different. Slash data your package name and then files, slash data your package name and the cache. Some important files, right? Methods means if you don't want to use the open file input method or open file, okay, let's read using some another way. See, public void display, right? Display files dir using get files dir. So let me write this function. Try catch with the generic exception e dot print stack trace. Over here you can say file input stream FIS is equals to new file input stream, right? And I want to pass the object of file. Can you see? Or the file descriptor. I want to pass the object of file. I'll go with this constructor that comes with the file. let me have object of file. I want to refer to file. That file you are going to read. See, file is equals to new file. Let me create that. I am showing you Java's way, how Java work, right? And here get files dir. Can you see it is going to return me object of my parent root, and after this name of the file my.txt likewise. And here you can say file. If you check source of this method, that could be very similar to this mbase.openFileOutput. Okay, now it is going to the abstract class. You might need to search for the implementation, right? Will not go in that much detail level, but remember that openFileInput might have this same code that we are writing now. Okay, now reading is very simple. Just go this much code, that's it, nothing but the reading code, this. So instead of using, so these two lines are converted to one line if you use openFileInput. This is Android style. Android will ask you to read internal storage using this thing. Android will ask you to read the internal storage using this thing, right? Okay, now let me call this method display using files dir and see what happens. Display using files dir, run and see what happens. Gradle is getting built. Okay, now say display. Can you see hello code cool? That is coming from my.txt. That is coming from what? My.txt. This. Okay, so we have seen this method get files dir. Get dir creates or opens an existing directory, creates or opens an existing directory within your internal storage space. If you want to delete any file on the internal storage, you are going to call this delete file method. Pretty clean and the straight this thing. Now what I want to do, I will explain you, or I will show you this method file list, how it works. Okay, list of files within your internal storage. List of files within your internal storage. Let me write that method. See, private void display private list, private files, you can say display private files, right? You are going to call file list. Can you see this thing? File list. It is returning you array of string. Say file names is equals to this. File names. Remember that generally Java says that your array should be like this: file names, countries, numbers, cities, right? Why? Because Studio does same thing, file names dot for. If you do like this, it will give you proper for loop likewise. So for string file name in the file names, easy to understand, right? And this is a standard good programming practice if you'll do this thing. Fine, now I want to show this thing in the text view. Now I will show you how to use the append of this thing. This text view dot append. What you want to append? See, /n dot append plus file name. See this /n dot file name. So it will append this much data. Okay, now here what I'm going to do is that, or before that, make sure that you are removing everything from that text view dot set text empty, right? You can make that text clean, and here instead of this display I can use display private files. Let me run the code and see what would be the output. If you can check this, it is going to return you file list, is going to return you list of name of the files into slash data user 0 package name and files folder. From that you would be getting, see the display, only one file is there, my.txt, within your private storage. Only one file is there, what? My.txt. It's true, we have created that file over here using openFileOutput. You may create another files, right? This. So this is how you will access the list from the private storage. So Android documentation says this much about the internal storage. Right? For your more curiosity, just try to implement these two methods on your own. Very simple. They have cleanly defined their use and intention. Current apps, only the apps which is running, that it is going to delete, not all. Yes, which is running, which is in front of you, that is going to be get deleted. If you are going to write one service in your app, and if your app is not running, then also it can delete if you are running with the service, background service. Fine. Attach file means sending, yes, there is one intent. Yes, share intent. To the share intent you are going to give file URI of this current file, but in that case you have to use file provider that I have used yesterday, right? You can check GitHub repository, I have used this provider yesterday, file provider. If you want to share the file with another apps, you are going to use this file provider, one kind of content provider it is. If you can go over here, it is a kind of content provider. Can you see this? We will see content provider in detail. This is nothing but what? Content provider. We'll see. So there are two types of the provider. One is who shares the database, one who shares the private files. Database is also private. Remember that where database is going to get created at the same level, but instead of the files, it would be having database, right? If it is a shared preferences, shared underscore prefs, there would be, right? So this is all about the documentation. Rest of the things are stick to the Java. Reading file, writing file, copying file. If you want to try that operations, you can use with that operation as well. Right? Simple things. Okay. Now the external storage. We'll see in the next tutorial what do you mean by external storage. Right? If you are liking our videos, kindly subscribe the channel Code Cool.